People are like, we have sunk millions upon millions of dollars believing every time that Texas was going to go blue, and then we'd be like, and that was just a money pit. So like, what is different? And so, we've tried to make it clear that this is the first time that we've had a Democratic candidate who has started with such high name ID. We've had great candidates. Like, I can't look back and be like anybody was trash, whether they made it to the nomination or not. But like, if don't nobody know you, like, then it's I mean, because first base is like winning, right? Like, so you got to win. Also, when I went to these state championship games, because the three largest division of schools, those three schools all came from my district, my congressional district. They were playing. They're amazing. But nevertheless, somehow this year, so one of our superintendents made a phone call to my office as soon as one of my teams made it in and was like, hey, we want the congresswoman to do the coin toss. So my staff called and was like, hey, we want to do the coin toss. And they were like, that's going to be a problem. And my staff is like, why? And they're like, oh, because Senator Cornyn is doing the coin toss for all state football championship games. I was like, say what now? So then my staff, anyway, it was a whole thing.
Who was calling asking him?
That nobody. Okay. All right.
Nobody.
So literally like 200,000 people poured in. Like, Texas, we do football big now, especially high school football. Okay. So they worked it out so that I would be on the field with the state senator that also represented all three of these schools. So we went on when they would have the officials kind of be announced for each of the games. And as soon as they would announce my name, the crowd would go wild. Now, mind you, like, yes, my teams made it, but also we had like teams from other parts of the state. It was basically a Dallas-Houston fight the entire day, to be honest. So the crowd would go wild, right? Like, we got Congresswoman Crockett, woo! Right? Okay. So the first game they do that, and then Cornyn comes on to do the coin toss. They boo him, okay? So he gets booed. Second game, I go on, woo! Okay. He goes on, they're silent. Third game, I go on again, and then they're silent. But then by this point, I don't know what happened to him, but he dropped the coin. He dropped the coin. He dropped the coin, child. It was a whole thing, and I got to make sure we got that video. But nevertheless, so he drops the coin. So then the crowd went from being silent to laughing at him. So I was like, we about to have a problem, because Cornyn is like feeling the heat because he's not used to a candidate that is not only known, but like in a very public way, like liked. Like that is scary, because
like a rock star way in Texas.
Right. Because my name ID is where his name ID is by maybe just a couple of points. Like, every poll that I've seen, our name ID is like right there together. The difference is Cornyn has been elected statewide for almost 30 years. I've never run statewide. And at this point in time, I had been in the race for maybe 2 weeks, right? So we've not spent on statewide media or anything like that. And so I was like, he about to text his boys that I'm going to be a problem. And so the very next day, that is when J.D. Vance decided he had something to say about me.
She wants to be a senator, though her street girl persona is about as real as her nails.
It's also the same day that Senator Kennedy decided he had something to say about me.
And somebody needs to tell the Congresswoman. It'll be in her best interest. They need to tell her that the voices in her head are not real.
And then the following day, Tim Scott joined in on the fun. And so I'm like, bro, like, we just got to keep meeting people where they are. I say that we cannot take our eye off the prize, which is the people. The people have to win. This election should not be about the things that ultimately will happen, which is personalities and who I like better. It should be about who is it that has a track record of always standing up and fighting for us and can actually win, because you're going to need to have somebody. It's not going to be good enough to kind of just be like, oh, well, we've got a Democrat that's running and they've never been attacked or whatever. Like, you can't, that ain't enough. Like, we're going to have those people that are coming out and naturally voting against Trump. But we're also going to need somebody that can bring out people that don't normally vote. And that's really the part that I think a lot of the pundits are like, oh, every Democrat says they're going to expand the electorate, but you got to get Republicans. And it's like, whatever.
Also, by the way, you can't win Texas if you don't bring people who don't vote out, because Texas is a non-voting state because of the laws and the cynicism. And like, this is where I'm like, I am so glad that both you and James are running. What it takes in Texas to get a Democrat elected statewide, which we don't even know because it really hasn't happened in our lifetime or since the beginning of it, is about getting people who do not believe in the system or that it works for them to be inspired, to have hope, to have somebody to be inspired by. And that's why it's like the two of you also being so dynamic and different. It's like, good, get as many people registered as possible just out of a sense of like hope, because that's going to shift the whole electorate. And if you know this, you shift Texas, you shift the whole country. These conversations and the courage of these leaders are only as contagious as the audiences we reach. So if you felt inspired by this conversation and episode, please consider sharing it on your own social platforms and with your friends and networks. If you don't already, please follow Courier Newsroom wherever you follow news and information, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube so you can be the first to know when our next conversation drops. So excited to be in this fight with all of you. And until next time, please take care of yourselves. We need you.